Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of how to use Studio One to construct a tempo map to a live studio recording of a trio. Part 1 can be found on the channel by clicking the card in the upper right hand corner. And watching part 1 will help you follow what's in this video. In part 1, we constructed a tempo map for 3 different takes of a song. And in this part, what we're going to do is take those 3 different takes that have that tempo map and construct a real nice composite take that also has a tempo map. And from that tempo map and the grid it created, we'll be able to go to a few spots and correct some small timing issues, therefore creating a really great rhythm track. Check it out. Okay, so we've gotten all 3 takes tempo mapped here. This is a rubato piece of music. This is the piano, this is the drums. It is one of these kind of pieces of music that goes up and down in tempo, and at times the drummer will be ahead of the keyboard player and at times vice versa. There are points in this thing where one will get ahead of the other and they'll be very much not together. We did a comp take from 3 takes the day of the recording based on the songwriter's choices. Take 6 is the take that we use the most of, oddly enough. He liked his vocal a lot in it, and oddly enough, it's the loosest one between the drummer and the keyboard player. This tempo map has not changed any of the performances of any of the players. It is only tracking the changes in tempo that are occurring by us playing wild and not against any kind of a grid. So I'll turn on the click and you can hear this.
In the shadow and neons glow, in this haze of deceit, how can...
Look at the change here from 124 to 133 through this little area, then back down to 122. At least we have a grid now that does work. The click stays with it. So just to prove to you that this grid actually works and we can control the band now, let's take this area here and we'll put in 2 points and we'll speed the band up, make it play silly fast. But watch, it'll play together.
Lies with masks, truth hides its face.
There you go. I mean, that is so cool. We now have a grid to work with against a real-time performance. It shows you I now have a tool to work with to manipulate the tracks to get them to where it's a better sounding performance than what we had. We barely knew this tune, but now I can work it as a producer and get it to sound closer to where when we do overdubs, we got a really good track to play against. Okay, so let's do a little comp here. I'm going to do a comp over here in this area right here. In the previous session I had, I'll show it to you. This is the session where the keyboard player wanted me to put a comp together before he left town. Our ruler was just minutes and seconds. So when I did the editing, I had to zoom in on the beats of the drums and make my cuts. You can see there's a cut here. I got a cut here. There weren't a lot of cuts, honestly. There were only 5 cuts to comp it together. Point being, I had to cut it visually instead of against a grid. Kind of like the old days when I used to cut tape. Okay, so now we're back to the session we're going to do our comp with. So I do know that we used take 6 for a good long while, and let's see how long we used it. Take 6, we started with the intro and went up to the lead, and at the lead, we ended up going to take 4. So take 6, beginning up to the lead. All right, great. Here's take 6. We're going to do this with arranger bars. And here we go. We're going to take it up to the lead. I'll put it a couple of bars in front there. And we go up to the lead. And there we are at the lead. Okay, great. So now what we do is we label this take 6, intro to lead, measure 1, beat 1, and we zoom out and we option drag and get this over here. Make sure it's on the beginning of a bar, so we're on beat. 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, we're on beat. Very good. So our next cut is we start at the lead with take 4. And let's see how far we go, okay? We start here That's where it starts, and we come out here,
but it's hard to see
cut.
inside.
So we cut right before the word inside. All right, let's go to our comp construction here. So we're going to take 4, top of the lead, toward the end of the bridge. All right, looks like we're on the beat here. Great, okay, we're on the downbeat there. Perfect. Let's go down here. It's
hard to see
cut.
inside.
We cut here. Zoom in and make sure we're there. We're on the downbeat. Now let's see where this is exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Measure 13, beat 1. All right, let's label it. Take 4, lead, measure 1, beat 1, to bridge, measure 13, beat 1. All right, let's drag this over to where it belongs with our comp. Option drag. Okay, that worked. And
But it's hard to see.
And cut. All right, great. So what is our next cut? Let's find out. The bridge, measure 13, beat 1. We know that's where it starts, and it goes up to toward the end of the pre-chorus.
So hard to know.
Right before the chorus. So we'll just, and this is like beat 3 of the last measure before the chorus. So take 6.
But it's hard to see inside.
Okay, this downbeat here should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, beat 1. That's exactly where we want to start. Boom. And it's going to go to the last measure, beat 3 of pre-chorus 2. Here's pre-chorus 2. Let's zoom in. Beat 3 of the last measure. Here's the last measure. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Beat 3 of the last measure before the pre-chorus.
Hard to know.
3, 4, 1. There we go. We're just fine. Okay, great. So let's label this. Take 6, bridge, measure 13, beat 1 to pre-chorus 2, last measure, beat 3. Boom. All right, let's grab that and drag it down here. There we go. See if this goes together.
But it's hard to see inside the illusion.
Good. Okay, that's perfect. Now we go down to here. This should be beat 3.
So hard to know.
1, 2, cut. There we go. That's perfect. All right, great. Our next cut is a short cut. And that's not a play on words. I guess it could be. So this is only for 4 beats, as I recall. Cut 4, 1, 2, cut. Yeah, okay, this is 4 beats. I understand. And this is from take 4. So we zoom out here and we go down to take 4. And this is just right down here, right before the chorus. And it's beat 3. So, arranger, beat 3. There's 3, and this goes to beat 3. So this is 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, cut. 1, 2, cut. There we go. Okay, that's exactly right. So let's label this. Take 4, pre-chorus 2, last measure, beat 3 to chorus 3, measure 1, beat 3. Big label for I think the label's longer than the actual cut. It's, this is going to be a very tiny piece we're going to drag here. All right. Okay, beat 3.
hard to know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, cut. Great. All right, that worked out perfect. All right, now the next thing, I believe that's the last cut we got to do. Let's see what we got here. This is 6. Take 6 literally goes from that chorus all the way to the end of the song. So that's an easy thing to grab. Let's go do that. So take 6, which is here. And there's the chorus, and there's beat 3. There we go, beat 3. 1, 2, 3. Good, okay, and this goes all the way to the end of the take. Boom. Let's take it down to there. Zoom out. Oh, we gotta label it, Take 6, chorus 3, measure 1, beat 3 to end of take. All right, let's drag it out here. Okay. Beat 3, 4, 3.
Oh, lost in the shadow.
Obviously, you have to do a little mending there on some of those tracks, but that's the cut that we wanted. I think it was because of the drum fill. All right, we now have our comp take, and there it lives in all its glory. And we made it. Let's just look at all the cuts, make sure they work.
Can we know?
Great, that one worked.
But it's hard to see inside.
Good, that worked. And we go through 2 cuts here, and that'll be it.
Hard to know. Lost in the shadow.
Yep, okay, all of them, all the cuts work in the respective time. So now that we know all the cuts work, we're going to take this comped edit and we're going to put it over into a work area by itself, and we're going to listen to it and figure out what we need to do to smooth this thing out to make a really great rhythm track. So here is our comped take with the mapped tempo track. Our MIDI and audio tracks will follow any changes that I make to the tempo track, and the tempo track is providing us a grid to use visually to get MIDI and audio tracks adjusted in time against the grid. So I'm going to take a listen to the piano and the drums and ignore the vocal and just find out how loose this thing is so I can get the piano and the drums to be a solid performance that I can overdub a bass guitar part to. Well, okay, I've listened to this. There's a bunch of loose things going on in here, and I'm going to start messing about with it now to try and smooth a few things out. Okay, so I have come up with a method of working with the MIDI of the drums and the MIDI of the piano. The audio I can't really work with because it's too difficult to edit, but you can do anything with MIDI. To keep as much feel and to improve the performance, I've come up with this layout of the MIDI drums and the keyboard. I'm using this MIDI editor here. I can edit and or see either the drums MIDI or the piano MIDI. So here's the piano MIDI. You can see my tempo track up here, and this is the piano track, and this is the drum track. So as I go through, I can actually watch both of them, and I can highlight either the piano or the drums. And I'm mainly using my ears, but I can tweak this as I go. Right here, piano's late, drums seem to be in the right spot. I can see the drums, I can highlight the piano, I don't want to change the performance too much, but I do know this one here, need to bring the piano forward a little bit. We'll just do this. We'll bring this one forward just a little bit, not a lot. So I don't want to destroy what Rich is doing on the piano. Okay, so getting from 63 to 64, kind of cratered here. I believe this might be an edit, so let's take a look. And it is. Here's a situation where, okay, I had to cut it together here. We got to figure out how to join the piano at the cut and see what works best. I don't think I can do it here. I have to do it here. Let's get out of grid mode. Let's see if this works. Okay, that works for the piano. Okay, so he can kind of flub this a little bit. Let's see if we go forward. We don't have that to work with. That's the odd thing about MIDI. Sometimes you get things that you can work with and sometimes you don't. Okay, kind of a bad riff he did here. So let's try and salvage that. Okay, we'll go back to the MIDI page here. At least we have a better join of the MIDI. Doesn't sound too bad with the drums. If we solo it though, let's see what we're like at the top. So he's on the beat here, and he rushes this. Let's take this, move it all downstream just a little bit. I'm not in snap to grid. I want to keep his little trills and stuff together. Move that one. That sounds good. Okay, we're going to want to have this guy here. These guys here. Maybe this guy's got to go here. I don't know. I'm not really hearing that note. I don't know what his intention is there. I think he wants this here. Then this, we know we don't want these guys here. Let's see what that sounds like with the drums. Let's see what the drums are doing here. Okay, so he's a little ahead of it. Let's put him, he's on here, and he's going to do a riff, and he gets ahead of himself. So let's just do this. Let's just bring this all back just a little bit. Let's see how that works. There we go. There we go. That's a lot tighter and a lot less sloppy sounding. It's going to work just fine. Okay, there you go. That gives you an idea of what I'm doing, working with the MIDI to try and get this track smoother and tighter sounding. We're still keeping all the tempo fluctuations, and I'm not moving everything around and quantizing everything. I'm just grabbing things here and there to where they weren't quite together, making them a little more together. Obviously what they intended to do. I'm just trying to save it. I'll throw it at them. They may not like it. They may go, you know what? You took all the life out of it. We hate it. We'll just stick with what we had. Might be what they do. So I hope I didn't lose you on this one. This was a pretty complicated thing, having a studio recording of a trio playing without having a click track or anything. They're just playing off of each other, creating their own tempo, and it's going up and down a little bit. But then being able to create a tempo map over 3 different takes, using those tempo map takes to create a comp that has a tempo map, where we can use that tempo map and that grid to correct some timing issues and get some performance things taken care of, so we have a much better track. Studio One's a great DAW for doing this stuff in. Maybe you can do it in other DAWs. I've been in Studio One for a while. I like it. This is Rusty Smith for Record, Mix, Repeat. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the channel and share any videos that you like with your friends. Thanks so much. Please come back.